Welcome to a random Sunday night video. If you like the content, please feel free to like it and consider subscribing to the channel. If you don't want to, you do not have to. I support you either way. Anyway, the original term War of the Windsors has been around for a while. It was made popular by the tabloid press to describe the open battle between Prince Charles and Diana at the end of their marriage. Both sides were leaking to the press to try and harm the other. The term has since been used as a book and documentary title, noting that there has been a, quote, War of the Windsors in pretty much every generation. Edward versus George, Charles versus Diana. While it may not have developed into a war, there were definitely some border skirmishes between Margaret and the Queen. Now, we've talked a lot about how Queen Elizabeth's longevity has put her direct heir in an interesting and, to be honest, difficult spot. Charles is 73 years old. He is the longest-serving Prince of Wales, and though he has made that role his own, it means he will not be the reigning monarch for very long. And the entirety of his reign will be completed as an old man. Liz's lifespan has also meant that the English throne has a future heir that is approaching middle age himself. This sets the British royal family apart from pretty much any other modern royal house. It also sets up what many believe will be this generation's War of the Windsors. Now, before we go any further, I want to be clear. Charles will be king. The only way William succeeds the Queen is if Charles dies first. There is no other way. There is no plan to do a little switcheroo. There never has been. Charles will be the next King of England if he outlives his mother. But Charles will be an old king, and an old king with baggage. While the early 2000s through the mid-2010s might have been kinder to Chuck than the 80s and 90s, the most recent season of the Netflix show The Crown, actually more importantly the reaction to the most recent season of The Crown, has shown that people still really dislike Charles following Diana's death. It also shows that when the material is shown to new audiences, people who weren't alive or weren't old enough to remember, the reaction is the same. Charles will never be a popular figure, and neither will his consort. Now, this is an issue for the monarchy in general, especially in the modern age. The beloved Queen Liz has served as an ironclad shield for the institution for going on 20 plus years now. Not only does she not have any public figure age peers who can call her out, but she's been the queen for approximately 1,000 years. Or in other terms, she has been the monarch for the entirety of 99.9% of all living British people. Because Charles will not enjoy anywhere near the same level of endearment, his ability to shield the institution will also be compromised. Here enters William, Charles's son, and as the deranged like to say, the future heir. Now, for a long time, William was considered the better prospect. His face invoked Diana. He was young, full of promise, yada yada. For a while, most polls in the UK showed that by some changing margins, people preferred that the crown skip Charles and land squarely on William's head. If he wasn't such a shit person, I would feel badly for Charles. Not only has his mother's refusal to abdicate kept the crown away from him, but he also has his own heir who has reached adulthood and who people seem to prefer. On the surface, to be blunt, he is no longer the handsome prince. As he has aged, the Windsor genes have taken over, which of course is me just being a little shallow, but we know it bugs him. We know because he sends his PR team out to try and compete with Stanley Tucci, etc. Going a bit deeper than William losing his looks, despite the British press doing everything they can to convince you otherwise, especially since Harry and Meghan became their primary targets, William's marriage to Kate Middleton really hasn't been all that successful. Yes, they have given the institution 3 more heirs. So in that sense, yes, successful. But in pretty much every other sense, not really. Before the Harry and Meghan attack started, both Will and Kate were lambasted for their, quote, work-shy nature. Neither of them have any successful, long-lasting projects that they can truly take credit for. Kate has yet to give a successful speech on any topic, and there have been increasing whispers about her health. There have also been whispers of infidelity plaguing the relationship, with alleged long and short-term affair partners for William. While the couple received a moment of reprieve in the press, mostly due to their willingness to leak against other family members, it's not clear to anyone that that reprieve will continue indefinitely. To go back a moment to the more shallow topics, it's also unclear how the press will handle them once they have aged out of what is conventionally considered attractive. A lot of, and pretty much all of Kate's appeal has pretty much landed on the fact that she looks good in a dress and sometimes her hair looks nice. Press attention is all about the horse race. At least Charles and Camilla have projects, things to fall back on. William and Kate do not. It's also been clear for the past few years that William has become much more pro-institution, at least much more than he was in his youth, which is decidedly uncool. It also doesn't help that Charles and William aren't friends. Yeah, they go through the motions in front of cameras, but the leaks have been consistent for decades. Charles does not / did not enjoy a close relationship with either of his children, for what seems like pretty obvious reasons. I also think it's notable that Charles hasn't really made any, well, at least public attempts to take William under his wing. Yeah, we get the press release every few years that William is learning something about Highgrove or gardening or something, but there's never really any tangible evidence of that. Before we get into the rest of the video, I want to make it clear that both men leaked to the press. They are both the masters of their own press houses, and the Queen does not appear to have a good leash around either, to be honest. So, of course, Harry and Meghan enter the scene, and this throws the family into chaos. It shouldn't have, but it did. Now, it's important to point out that even from the beginning, William and Charles took very different tacks. Charles walked Meghan down the aisle when her own sperm donor faked a heart attack. Harry and Meghan appeared with Charles and Camilla right before their honeymoon, and there were obvious pains taken to make the foursome look happy together. Charles received a bunch of good press for his public treatment of Doria, Meghan's mom. For most of the early part of the marriage, there were consistent press leaks that Camilla and Meghan got along. William and Kate, on the other hand, immediately went on the attack. Looking bored and uninterested at the wedding, Kate in yellow, leaks galore from Kensington Palace. I can't quite pinpoint it, but pretty much the minute Harry and Meghan married, something in William seemingly broke. And this would continue. Throughout the entire time Harry and Meghan were working members of the family. It got so bad they left the KP umbrella and moved under BP. Now, of course, this is all just my educated guess, but it's usually a good idea if you want to find the perpetrator to look first at who benefited the most from the situation. And if you look at the entire disaster that was the royal family's attack on Harry and Meghan, at least in the immediate sense, no one benefited more than William and Kate. Work-shy claims, infidelity rumors, expectations, they all disappeared overnight. And many, myself included, think that they made a deal with the devil to make that happen. We know the rest of this story. Harry and Meghan leave. There is the so-called Sandringham Summit, where William was portrayed as a prominent attendee, which is weird considering that for a family obsessed with roles, William, as the future, really didn't have one. Why was he there in the first place? I think that some of the best evidence that William played a prominent role in the royals' response to Harry and Meghan leaving is in its harshness. I've spoken about this before. Liz and Chuck like to think things over. They take time to make decisions and freeze in times of uncertainty, which has played out over and over in both of their histories. The refusal to agree to a part-time deal, the immediate stripping of Harry's military honors, the immediate cutoff of funds, with then a year in review tacked on at the end, it honestly seems out of character for both of them. Please don't misunderstand me as claiming Liz and Chuck were innocent in this whole thing, because that's not what I'm claiming. I'm merely pointing out that something seemed different with this response than previous responses from senior royals. Now, unless you have your head firmly up a UK tabloid's ass, you know that the Sussexes leaving has not gone well for the family. Harry and Meghan are seemingly thriving, while the working members of the royal family diminish in numbers and increase in age. The Queen's health is in question, and the past few weeks with her absent have been a preview of what is to come, and it's not good. What the Sussexes leaving did accomplish was giving Charles ammo in the coming / maybe was always somewhat inevitable War of the Windsors, while removing an ally William might have counted on. See, there's always been friction between the two men, but previously Charles didn't have shit on William. But between you and me, I think William really screwed this up. I think Kensington Palace leaked like a sieve against Harry and Meghan. I think William and Kate teamed up with Jason Knopf and other members of staff to make the Sussexes' lives hell. And I think William had a lot to do with the royal conditions upon their exit. This again has not gone well for the family, and I think the cooler, more experienced hands at Clarence House know this. William desperately wants to both appeal to his right-wing base of support and young people at the same time, which is impossible. But knowing anything about culture right now, we know that racism is a hot-button issue. And again, I think William played a huge role in chasing the only non-white member of his immediate family out the door. He was the one sent out to awkwardly reply, "We are very much not a racist family." I was thinking about doing a fake British accent there, and I didn't. You're welcome. In recent days, he has doubled down on both racist and hypocritical comments about African population growth. Interactions between William and people of color have led people to ask some questions that have not been smoothed over by William's rehearsed answers, or him trotting out his token black friend. Coming on the back of his racist statement about Africans and the publication of a BBC documentary that presented the palace leaks in ways not yet seen by UK media, there was news today. A new biography is claiming that Prince Charles spoke with Camilla about how the Sussex children would appear. First, the timing is definitely not a coincidence. Second, Charles has denied this, even hinting that lawyers would be involved. The whole thing is a non-story that proves nothing, except that there are rumbles of another Windsor war brewing. William was taking heat. Bad Stories re Charles is released. Charles denies this, pointing the finger back at William. Like I said, in previous years, there couldn't have been much of a war because it would have just been Charles screaming into the void. William, especially when it came to attacks from his disliked father, was invincible. But something has changed. William has blood in the water when it comes to Harry and Meghan. Charles suddenly has ammunition, and based on the suspected racial nature of this ammunition, it's not something to balk at. Charles is a petty man. He likes the spotlight, and I think he has felt the institution shift under his feet to support his eldest son. It would be stupid for anyone to think he has some paternal feeling to spare William. William has lost his whipping boy. He literally chased him off. It looks like in their search for a new one, Kensington Palace has chosen Clarence House. Another incredibly stupid decision. William and Kate have benefited from a huge amount of apathy. Photos surfaced just the other day of him looking decidedly caught in the back of a car with a gorgeous blonde in front, and literally no one cared. People actively dislike Charles, but are very meh towards William. If Kensington Palace keeps poking, Clarence House will give them something to dislike. I can guarantee it.